Welcome to Soul Spirit Story C, where every story touches the soul and reminds us that even in the darkest night, a spark of kindness can light the way. Now, sit back, listen closely, and let this story take you on a journey of hope, love, and redemption. It was a cold winter evening when Daniel, a poor single father, drove his old pickup truck along the empty countryside road. The rain had just stopped, leaving the air heavy and the asphalt slick. His 7-year-old daughter, Lily, sat in the passenger seat wrapped in a blanket, clutching a worn-out teddy bear. "Daddy, I'm hungry," she whispered softly. "I know, sweetheart," Daniel replied, his eyes tired but gentle. "We'll stop by home soon, okay? There's still some soup left from yesterday." He smiled to comfort her, though deep down he knew there wasn't much left. Life hadn't been kind to Daniel. Since his wife passed away 3 years ago, every day had been a battle, between bills, odd jobs, and the endless ache of loneliness. But tonight, something was about to change his life forever. As his headlights cut through the fog, Daniel suddenly slammed the brakes. There, by the roadside, he saw something, or rather, someone. Lying motionless near a ditch was a woman. Her clothes were torn, her face bruised, and her body covered in mud. "Daddy," Lily gasped. Is she dead?" Daniel's heart raced. He jumped out of the truck, rushing toward the woman. Kneeling beside her, he felt for a pulse. "She's alive," he whispered in relief. "Barely, but alive." He looked around. No cars, no houses, no sign of who she was or what happened. He carefully lifted her frail body into his arms and carried her to the truck. "Sweetheart, scoot over," he said to Lily. "We have to help her." Lily nodded, wide-eyed, clutching her teddy bear as Daniel laid the woman gently on the back seat, wrapping her in his old jacket. He drove fast, his mind spinning. Who was she? What had happened? And why was she left there to die? When they reached their small wooden cabin at the edge of town, Daniel carried her inside. The cabin was old, a cracked window, a flickering bulb, a small stove that barely worked. But it was all they had, and tonight, it became a shelter for one more lost soul. He laid her on the bed and checked her breathing. It was shallow but steady. He cleaned her wounds with what little first aid supplies he had and covered her with a blanket. "Daddy, will she be okay?" Lily asked in a trembling voice. "I hope so, Angel," he said softly. "We just have to keep her warm." The night passed slowly. Daniel stayed awake, sitting by her side, watching over a stranger he knew nothing about. There was something in her face, something fragile, like a memory of someone long gone. When dawn broke, the woman stirred. Her eyelids fluttered open, and she gasped in confusion. Where am I?" she whispered, her voice faint. "You're safe," Daniel said gently. "You were hurt. I found you on the road." She tried to move, but a sharp cry escaped her lips. "Easy," Daniel said, holding her shoulder. "You shouldn't move too much. You're injured." Tears welled in her eyes. I can't feel my legs," she said in panic. Daniel froze. He gently lifted the blanket and pressed his fingers along her legs. She didn't react. "I think your spine, it might be hurt," he said quietly. "But we'll get you help." The woman's eyes filled with despair. "They'll find me, they'll kill me," she whispered suddenly, trembling. "Who?" Daniel asked, startled. She turned her face away, silent. Over the next few days, Daniel did everything he could to care for her. He borrowed a wheelchair from a neighbor, fed her soup, and tended to her wounds. Lily, curious and innocent, would bring her flowers she picked from the yard. The woman slowly began to recover, though her body remained paralyzed from the waist down. "Do you remember your name?" Daniel asked one evening as he served her tea. She hesitated. "Emily," she said finally. "My name is Emily." "That's a beautiful name," he smiled. "I'm Daniel, and that little angel over there is Lily." Emily smiled weakly at the child. "You're lucky to have such a sweet daughter." Daniel chuckled softly. "She's the only reason I'm still standing." Days turned into weeks. Emily started to trust him, though shadows still haunted her eyes. Sometimes at night, Daniel could hear her crying softly. He didn't ask. He knew some wounds went deeper than words. One cold morning, there was a knock on the door. Daniel opened it to find Sheriff Collins standing there, his hat dripping from the rain. "Morning, Daniel," the sheriff said. "Heard you've been helping someone." "A woman." Daniel's stomach tightened. "Yeah, found her on the roadside. She was hurt bad." The sheriff nodded gravely. "You might want to be careful. There's been talk about a missing woman." daughter of a wealthy businessman. Rumor is, she was kidnapped, and whoever did it wanted her dead. Daniel's heart sank. He turned to glance at Emily, sitting quietly in her wheelchair by the fire. When the sheriff left, Daniel returned to her. "Emily," he said gently, "is that true? Are you the missing woman he's talking about?" Tears filled her eyes. "Yes," she whispered. "My stepbrother. He wanted the inheritance my father left me. When I refused to sign the papers, he had me taken away. They beat me and left me for dead." Daniel felt anger burn inside him. "You're safe now," he said. "I won't let anyone hurt you again." But deep down, he knew it wasn't that simple. If her stepbrother found out she was alive, danger would come knocking. For months, Daniel and Lily cared for Emily like family. She learned to smile again, to laugh, to find warmth in small things. The sound of Lily's giggle, the smell of fresh bread, the soft tunes of Daniel's guitar in the evenings. One night, as snow fell outside, Emily looked at Daniel with tears in her eyes. "Why are you so kind to me?" she asked. Daniel paused, then said softly, "Because I know what it's like to lose everything. And because you deserve a chance to live again." She looked down. "I don't think I'll ever walk again." He smiled gently. "Then we'll build a world where you don't have to." Their bond grew. Something quiet, pure, unspoken. Daniel found himself looking at her differently. Not with pity, but with admiration, for her strength, her courage, her light. But peace doesn't last forever. One evening, while Daniel was chopping wood outside, a black SUV stopped near the cabin. Two men stepped out, dressed in dark suits. Lily saw them first through the window and screamed, "Daddy! There are men outside." Daniel rushed in, grabbed Emily's wheelchair, and wheeled her toward the back door. "Go. Through the woods," he said urgently. But before they could escape, the men burst through the door. Well, one of them sneered. "The lady's alive after all. Leave her alone," Daniel shouted, standing between them. One man laughed. "Move, farmer. You've got no idea what you're dealing with." Daniel clenched his fists. "You'll have to go through me first." The man swung a gun toward him, but before he could pull the trigger, Emily shouted, "Stop. Please, don't hurt him. I'll go with you." Daniel's